In Chapter 4 of Leadership Theory Application and Skill Development, Lucier discusses contingency theories in leadership. According to Oxford, a contingency is a future event which is possible but cannot be predicted with certainty. Lucier discusses the contingency theory created by Fred E. Fiedler in 1951. It was the first used to determine the effectiveness of a person within a specific role in relation to individual situations, thus creating a contingency. According to Lucier, the theory is based on two variables: a task oriented leadership style and a relationship oriented leadership style. Notice in Exhibit 4.3, Lucier provides an example of Fiedler's contingency model. The model asks questions that determine your style of leading and your ability to have influence within three different situations. The variables are leader member, which is how your relationships are with your followers. Do they trust you? Are they confident in your abilities? Second, the structure of the task at hand. Is the work repetitive? The third and final variable is how much power does the leader have? Can they assign work, hire or fire people? Can they give raises or promotions? What is their power really? The results of these questions determine a hierarchy of favorableness, which is on a scale of 1 to 8. If your situation matches your leadership style, this theory deems you will be effective in your work. However, if it does not match, Fiedler discusses changing your situation's variables. Fiedler was innovative in his work, or as Lucier states, groundbreaking, which would not be right without naysayers or those who disagree. His adversaries felt the work lacked statistical data. Fiedler responded with sharp yet witty retorts, and the debate continues surrounding Fiedler's research. Next, Leadership Continuum Theory by Tannenbaum and Schmidt. According to Lucier, Robert Tannenbaum and Warren Schmidt developed another contingency model, but in 1950. This model was developed to discuss which group made the most decisions within the continuum of boss-centric or subordinate-centric leadership. This leadership has 7 styles and considers 3 factors, as you can see in Exhibit 4.5. Boss. The leader's personality and behavioral preferred style. Based on experience, expectation, values, and confidence in the subordinates are considered in selecting a leadership style. Based on personality and behavior, some leaders tend to be more autocratic and others more participative. Subordinates. The follower's preferred style for the leader is based on personality and behavior, as with the leader. Generally, the more willing and able the followers are to participate, the freedom of participation should be used, and vice versa. Situation, also time. The environmental considerations such as the organization size, structure, climate goals, and technology are considered in selecting a leadership style. While there is feedback for this theory as well, it is not as informed as Fiedler's and never underwent specific research testing. However, the only criticism it receives is the subjectivity of the 3 aforementioned situations. Next is path goal theory. On page 119 of chapter 4, Lucier defines the path goal theory by Robert House in 1971 as a situational process related to the leader, the task, as well as its effects. This theory is closely aligned with the work done in education. Strong leaders can create circumstances that have a clear and defined path toward the goal if it is what's best for students, teachers, and stakeholders. House uses Exhibit 4.6 to demonstrate this framework. This framework shows that based on the situation A leader embodies a specific role, and within that role, they convey a specific leadership style. This style will determine the goal achieved, whether it is performance based or the situation rendered, or the satisfaction rendered by the leader. According to Lussier, 120 studies examined directive and supportive behavior and showed that support for the path theory was significantly greater than chance, but results, of course, were mixed. This theory created a unique critique of management because they needed to know what style to use and when to use it. While there will always be naysayers, it is important to note the accomplishments of this theory and how it has provided a greater understanding of the variables required for successful leadership within diverse situations. Last but not least, the leadership substitute theory. This theory differs from the others because it is not technically contingency based. This theory is outlined by the author as one that neutralizes the leadership's need to lead. There are variables that contribute to this theory, such as if the tasks are mundane or routine, it may not be necessary for a leader to provide task directives. For instance, in factory work, the supervisor is really only present to manage attendance and work output and to determine if that work is complete for the day. And each day, there's minimal interaction between leadership and follower. There may be more management interaction, which is where it's very low level and it is not dependent or contingent on the actual growth or professional development of those within the follower role. The results of this theory are mixed and yield an output that is highly situational. In my opinion, this theory is one that requires a position that is routine and has consistent expectations that are easily understood and require minimal strategy. To conclude, contingency leadership gives way to providing those who are not natural born leaders with a platform to grow into leadership. These theories are also great for the growth of leaders who are also in turn being led. When they are put into practice, the contingencies allow for a multitude of situations and minimize the opportunity for leaders to be lost in what is necessary to grow followers, which will then in turn minimize turnover and will support leaders in situations that increase human capital. References used for this are found in the Leadership Theory Application and Skill Development within Chapter 4. And I currently am using a Kindle to leverage this reference. And the author is Robert Lussier, and the publication date was 2016.